So stop gloating about Lopez Obrador and talking about that man.
The problem neither started there nor ended there.
No, I just want to remind you that Prometeo Aurifica, let me...
Please finish. You already talked about Lopez Obrador. Please let me finish.
That's different. That's all.
That's all. Viri Ríos exploded live on Tercer Grado during an intense debate about AMLO. In this video, we tell you about the tense exchange that the political scientist had with Leo Zuckermann and Raimundo Riva Palacio. The political scientist Viri Ríos lashed out at analysts Leo Zuckermann and Raimundo Riva Palacio on the show Tercer Grado after accusing them of insisting on blaming former President Andrés Manuel López Obrador and Morena for the violence crisis and the infiltration of organized crime in Mexico. The debate started to heat up when the analysts were discussing the possible political and judicial implications of a potential appearance by Ruben Rocha Moya before a federal court in New York. In the middle of the discussion, Leo Zuckermann claimed that Morena would try to prevent, at all costs, the governor of Sinaloa from going to the United States. As he explained, there is a high probability that Rocha Moya will decide to cooperate with U.S. prosecutors in order to obtain a reduced sentence. And in that scenario, he could even directly involve former President López Obrador in his testimony. However, Viri Ríos responded that the same incentive could also lead the governor to lie in order to obtain legal benefits. She also said she was surprised by what she described as an obsession of some members of the panel to constantly try to implicate the former Morena president.
They're afraid, Viridiana, that Rocha will arrive in New York and implicate the great founding leader of Morena.
Leo, but the incentive is also to lie, isn't it?
Let's see, like this.
The obsession with Obrador has always struck me.
No. In response to these statements, Zuckermann immediately replied by bringing up the case of Genaro Garcia Luna, the former Secretary of Security during Felipe Calderón's administration, who was convicted in New York largely thanks to testimonies from drug traffickers. With that example, the analyst suggested that Morena didn't question the validity of the U.S. judicial system when the accused belonged to the opposition. But now they are trying to discredit it when the accusations could reach figures close to their political movement. Later, Raimundo Riva Palacio intervened and steered the discussion toward the issue of national sovereignty, which he described as fragmented, pointing out that organized crime has deeply infiltrated various industries and essential functions of the state. Based on that assessment, the journalist argued that the criticism toward AMLO is not due to an obsession, as Ríos suggested, but rather to the political responsibility he must assume for having led the federal government. In response, Viridiana Viri Ríos described as naive the narrative that tries to place the origin of the relationship between organized crime and political power solely in López Obrador's administration. As she explained, this is a problem that has been rooted in Mexico for decades and has spanned governments of different party affiliations. For this reason, the analyst angrily demanded that the panelists stop gloating about López Obrador. She also emphasized that obsessively focusing responsibility on the former president distorts the true dimension of the problem.
It's an issue that has been going on for decades. So stop gloating about López Obrador. Stop talking about that man. Yes, stop talking about him because you know the problem neither started nor ended there.
I just want to remind you,
Please let me finish. You already mentioned López Obrador.
In response to this, Leo Zuckermann firmly rejected that position and assured that he is not rubbing his hands together. However, she maintained that AMLO does have an unavoidable responsibility in this situation, especially because he promised that his government would be different. Finally, Viridiana Ríos ended the exchange with a strong phrase directed at the analyst: "Get over it." And what do you think?
First, I'm not rubbing my hands together, but what López Obrador was bragging about is that they would be different.
And they ended up being just like him.
Do you think there's an obsession with blaming the former president, or do you think there really is a political responsibility? Tell us your opinion in the comments, and if you like the video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell.